got Flippy the Bird.
Now are we on tape now?
We're on tape, and what I wanted you to do was to tell me about, start with Jada, how he got here to California, if you don't mind.
Yeah, my dad, Ivan Loomis's father, Ed Loomis, married Joe Jada's daughter, Clara. Joe Jada came out here, little argument on the dates, either 1862 or 1863, we're not sure. It was during the Civil War. The story goes that he was from Canada, and big family, farmers, and the family would come to the United States in the summer and work out like the old Basero program. Then they go back into Canada and harvest their crops. So anyway, Joe, from what I understand, stayed on with the family, 15, 16, 17 years old, as a kind of a chore boy, you know, he'd milk the cow and feed the chicken and whatever he did, you know, and he became kind of one of the families, a Lutheran, German Lutheran family. All of Joe's family were Roman Catholic. So anyway, when the war broke out, Joe goes down to enlist in the Union Army. And they told him he had consumption and he was going to die and they wasn't going to pay any attention to him, you know, buy him a uniform, waste money. So we don't really know exactly how he got to California, but we know he didn't have any money, so we're assuming that he probably hitched a ride on one of the wagon trains or something. Because we know he didn't go around the war or through the history. He didn't have any money at all.
Mm-hmm.
They got out here and they went to work over at Napa, or that area in Sonoma County, for Steel Brothers. They were big in the milk business all over the state.
Yeah, I remember Parker Talbot talking about them.
Steel Brothers owned this ranch.
Oh, really?
At one time.
Uh-huh.
They bought it from Branch, Francis Zeta Branch. And he heard of a job down here. And anyway, he had a horse and he rode down here, got a job on the ranch. There wasn't any buildings on the ranch, but Steel Brothers had cows. All they were shipping is butter.
On this ranch?
Yeah, well, there were a lot of other ranches in the area.
Uh-huh.
They just milk in the spring of the year, you know.
They what?
They just milk in the spring of the year because that's when the grass was green, you know, and the cows would dry out.
Uh-huh, I see.
Very uneconomical.
Yeah,
You know, but
yeah.
that's the way it was.
Uh-huh.
So Joe lived in a tent. They still had grizzly bears out here. The bears kept tearing up the tent. So they built him an adobe house, which is across the county road from where we're sitting. But there's no sign of it. We know where it is. We got a picture of it. But there's no sign of it. You know, you'd think maybe you'd see a hearth, flat piece of rock or something for a fireplace. Nothing. But anyway, Joe met Mary Hall. She came across the plains. She's got her diary. She was a young girl. Came across with her parents and some other relatives. So one of the last wagon trains that came west, because they were building the railroad. She mentions the railroad being built in her diary. And but it's not a very good diary, but apparently they had a little trouble with the Mormons. They didn't like the Mormons in Salt Lake. But anyway, they came to here, and Joe meets Mary Hall and married her, had a whole bunch of kids. And then a lot of the Hall family moved down to Ventura County. Santa Paula, Fillmore, that area. They were farmers. I remember my Uncle Ira, Jana, grandma's brother, my great uncle, he ranched down there, with the old cesspit that's where the Condor refugees now. But that's how Joe got out of here. Joe homesteaded where Locust Lake is, so the Jada Ranch is all on the water. And dairy, they had a kind of a co-op dairy up there about, Hasbrook and 400 or 500 ranchers had a little dairy where they bring all their milk in and ship the cream to, using that boat to San Francisco.
Now they milked, the cows are just standing, they didn't have,
They milked in the corral.
in the corral.
Take the bucket out,
Uh-huh,
little shit went in there about right there.
yeah.
Yeah. They, Joe had rickets when he was a kid, I guess, lack of protein or whatever. Then he humped back. And Joe died about 3 years before I was born, like 1923, I think. But all the old timers that knew him thought he was a great guy. He was a happy, was very proud to be an American. They say that his day was the 4th of July. He'd go out and spend all his money for fireworks. He'd have a big barbecue out at the Jetta Ranch, the alfalfa field. And he'd fire all the skyrockets and the rest.
Uh-huh,
That was his day, you know.
yeah.
But I guess he was a good talker. People would come up to him on the street to get him in conversation, you know.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, funny or knowledgeable, or I don't know. But, he's a well-liked guy, you know.
Yeah.
He had a good bunch of kids. Yeah, they got his citizenship papers for late subject to Queen Victoria. No.
Well, I think the French Canadians were like second-class citizens, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, they were. I think they were, I read a book where they were like, they did the work that no one else would do.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that there was Uncle Vard and Gladys went back to Quebec. Quite a few years before Vard died. And they looked in the phone book and there's a whole bunch of Jadis, but it's spelled different.
Oh.
We knew that they changed the name.
Uh-huh.
It was Jette.
Yes.
For some reason, when Joe got out here, it was changed to Jatta, but it's the same.
Uh-huh.
We knew that, Bart knew that.
Yeah.
So he looked up there and he said, hell, I'll just call one of these guys. And Bart said, I really lucked out. He says, I called the guy, speak good English, and he was a major in the Canadian Army, and he was a family historian.
Oh. Huh.
So they went out to dinner, and this guy, Major, knew of Joe.
Oh.
You know, he
Yeah.
knew of
Yeah.
Ty and
Uh-huh.
so Bart got quite a bit of information from. But there was bishops and cardinals and lots of nuns and all in the church, the Jetés, you know.
Yeah.
So I told Bart, I said, hell, if old Joe had played these cards right, hell, I could have been the Pope. No. There's people tied into the Loomis family that I still don't understand. There's the Starchers, they're related to the Halls, and there's the Thatchers. Hugh Thatcher was a partner of my dad and Bart and Buster in the hardware business for a little while. And Hugh was a cousin of Dan's. I'm not sure how the hell that, but I think it must have to been on the Hall side of the family, you know.
Well, now, how do you relate to the Jadis? Take it from him down.
Well, Ed Loomis come out here from South Dakota as a young cowboy, and he was cowboying around the ranches. and he met, Joe Jada's daughter, Clara. So they were married, and, Clara Jada and Ed Loomis became the parents of my dad, and Bart, and Buster, and Chester, and Muriel, and Bernice, Francis. I think I missed a couple.
I didn't realize there were so many. Did they die young? Some died young.
One of them did, Francis died like she was 20.
Uh-huh.
But most of them, Muriel, Bennett, and Bernice Draper, they were all in the middle, late 70s.
Uh-huh.
Dad died young, he was 57 when he died.
Did he die of a heart attack?
Yeah, yeah. Today, he'd have been taking a pill and probably lived to be 80, you know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Joe, Ed married Clara and had all these kids. And then, he started the feed business in 1905, built the mill, the feed store there at Royal in 1910. It's interesting to look at some of the records, you know, that era was, well, up until World War II, well, after actually, was the company just about sold anything and everything they could to make a penny. You know, hell, they had a couple of car agencies, Granddad did. You know, we buy a car and turn around and sell it, everybody knows.
Uh-huh.
They teach a guy how to drive, you know, that kind of a deal.
Yeah.
They had insurance. But we both with beans and grain, that was our main job. We had walnuts, we'd buy walnuts this time of year. And I got a lot of the records of 6 sacks or so. So everybody had a couple of walnut trees, you know.
Uh-huh.
Some of them had 10 or 20 acres, but
Yeah.
if a guy had 4 sacks of walnuts, we'd buy it, you know. And broker it through Rosenberg Brothers and San Francisco, stuff like that. And we had shook, which was boxes, broken down boxes. We sold wire-bound crates that we'd ship in from someplace. And we had a control over the nicotine.
How? They sold tobacco? Is that what you're saying?
American Tobacco Company made nicotine, made Black Leaf 40, which is 40% nicotine. And that was one of the prime killers of aphid.
Oh.
5-gallon can of Black Leaf 40 was expensive. You know, we're talking about, God, I'm gonna guess $30, $40 a gallon. In the days when $1 was,
Yeah.
buy a pair of pants.
Yeah.
Everybody had a dust mill. I got one. Dust mill was made out of a 55-gallon drum, heavy-duty drum. That was built on a stand at an angle, so the drum would be lopsided. And you turn it, you had a hole in the drum with a lid on it. You put 3, 4, 5 sacks of lime, then a pint or whatever of Black Leaf 40. You close it up and you mix it. Then you take it, put it in a backpack duster, go down the road, you know. No risk.
No mask.
Oh, shit, no, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, you know. When did nobody got sick that I know of, you know. But everybody had one of those. And when the war come out, nicotine become real hard to get. And Dad, his Bart, Buster, but mostly Dad, took real good care of his suppliers. No, prior. So, Dad always told me, he said, a supplier is as valuable as a customer.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the bulk, Loomis family got the bulk of the nicotine, this whole area, which was a profitable deal, you know. And I've seen correspondence with Angler Mustard Seed Company, which was a competitor, a big company in LA, trying to get it, you know.
Uh-huh.
G. Doyle, Ken Gillies, said, no, we've got a contract, you know.
Uh-huh.
True or not, but they were close, you know. But it was, I've seen letters written by people. Dear Mr. Loomis, thank you for carrying me. And he says, I had that disaster when all the rabbits got hot and died. And he says, I know I owe you $42.20. And he says, you had interest. And he says, I'll be sure I'll pay you, blah, 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 you know. $40 was a big thing, you know.
Yeah.
When the old war broke out in '41, probably a third of the customers of the Loomis and Son were Japanese. Farmers down in the Rio Grande Valley, Guadalupe, and San Luis, and they, of course, nobody knew what was going on. Some of the Japanese were, of course, all the young ones were citizens. Some of the older ones were citizens, and some of them weren't. And so his dad knew all these guys and knew them well, you know. So I guess for the first week or two, all Dad did was just kind of hold their hand. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. Dad didn't know what the hell was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, ever tell you about the day of the bombing?
No. How old were you?
I was about 14. We were all over Mount Abel pigeon hunt, December 7th, Sunday. The pigeon hunt was fantastic. Everybody I knew was over there. There's a big ridge, and the pigeons were flying back and forth. You had people running out of shells. People had 2-3 limits and trying to give the birds away, you know, just one of those days.
Uh-huh.
So we had to walk up on the hill, it's about dark. And a lot of people from Rio Grande were up there. And somebody said, Ivan, he says, turn the radio on in your car. Well, Port Harbor, you know, all these messages, you know. So Dad, you know, and that day, the old Cuyama Road was just a windy son of a bitch. So Dad was driving as fast as he could. I think that he was thinking, you know, what's gonna happen, you know. So anyway, we get in there and Mom comes running out and says, everybody, every Japanese, the valley is trying to get hold of my dad. So Dad just dumped the kids off on the bird or whatever. He took away, he never come back till the next day, you know. I asked him, he said, I didn't know any more about it than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, you know, he could see that the problem was just, they were scared that, you know, somebody's gonna come in there and kill all the Japanese in the Rio Grande Valley or something, you know. And you know, just a,
Yeah.
yeah, terrible thing, you know. So, you know, but, because the Loomises were known as Jap Loomis. Uncle Buster ended up with Hayashi's grand piano, stored for, they come back after the war, and Buster said, when the hell are you gonna get your piano? About 2-3 years later, they come get the piano. The Vard lived in one of the Japanese homes during the war, Pukeo family, farmed some of the ground. Yeah. That was you know, I don't think the average American really realizes that era. You know, if I realize it because I lived where all the Japanese were, grew up with. So.
Mm-hmm.
But the average person, even my age, would understand. You know, more so out of California because it was, you know, we had probably 90% of the Buddha heads right there in California. You know. Then I go over there and kill them all. until I actually,
Shift over a little bit. I wanna get you more in the sun. I'm gonna stop this for a minute. I have no idea if this will turn out or not. I don't know much about this thing, actually.
how much film, how long is the film, half hour?
No, 2 hours.
2 hours?
Like talking that long? You don't have to. You can stop anytime you want.
Oh, I don't care, is it going now?
Yeah. So tell me, how old were you when you were in the Marines?
50.
And so you lied
I
about,
couldn't, no. I went to, my dad and brother said, I'll sign for you, but you gotta have a diploma. So I went to Pinky Burrow, who was the principal, very close friend of the family. Great guy. He did. He said, well, he says, you go to summer school, and I'll get you enough credit. He said, I'll get you a diploma. So I went to Tahoe for summer school. It took quite a few courses easy, before we really.
mm-hmm.
Then I got a diploma, and then Dad and Mom signed for me, and I went in when I was 17. And, I was afraid the war was gonna be over, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about a dumb kid, you know.
Would you mind going if we went outside? Would you mind if we went out? I'm just worried that the shadows, that we're not gonna pick you up.
Yeah.
So let's go outside.
Hey, I'm at your disposal.
So, do you mind talking about your experiences in the Marines? I've never heard it.
I had a lot of fun in Marine. Yeah, I had, I was telling you, I could hardly wait to get in the Marines, because I want to go over there and kill Japanese, you know. As soon as I got in the Marines, I wish I was home. You know, that's typical, you know.
Uh-huh.
But, I lucked out and joined a real good outfit, the First Marine Division, which was, about as good as outfit as a guy could ever get into. So we had enough old timers to help the recruits. You know, we had it was a premium outfit. Go overseas as a replacement for Pellerin. And I'll never forget, we went from San Diego on a troop transport directly to Guadalcanal.
What year?
Direct from
What year?
early 44. The Battle of Guadalcanal had been over for years.
Mm-hmm.
But we pulled into the dock at night, and for 2 or 3 days we saw coconuts floating. So we knew we were in the island someplace, you know. But I guess that's pretty common, you know, because the wind blows coconuts, they float, you know, like a buoy, you know. Hundreds of coconuts all over. We pull in there, and I'll never forget, Marcus, I looked down between the dock and the ship, and there was a hammerhead shark, the only one I ever saw in my life. I swear it was as long as a boat. It was probably 15 feet long. It's great, big son of a bitch. And I never saw another one. I saw a little one down in Mexico years later. But that's the only one I saw, and it was right there, you know. So then we went from there to Pavuvu, which is about 50 miles, and the Russell Islands, which is part of the Solomons. The rest camp, which is owned by Lever Brothers, Palmolive British coconut plantation. And we were there, we were training for the Battle of Okinawa. We made two 2 months, 2 weeks, we invaded Guadalcanal with maneuvers. And so I got to see quite a bit of Guadalcanal. My job was driving the Jeep ambulance. In World War II, the combat battalions, the Marines, had one ambulance, a Jeep, just a regular Jeep with 2 racks on it, 2 stretcher racks, square. I got a picture of it. Like that, I'd love to have one. Yeah, find one. But the only one Jeep driver per 1,000 men. You know, so I knew. No, I didn't know anybody, but everybody knew who I was. You know, so it was a pretty good deal. Yeah, you didn't have to walk, go on maneuvers. You'd drive. You know, and let somebody ride along with me. You know, make points with a corpsman or something. You know. I remember when we were on maneuvers on Guadalcanal, and I don't know the circumstances, but they had a general prisoner. I don't know if it was up for murder or what. He was a badass Marine. And they had this young corporal guarding him. He was supposed to be picking up papers or some kind of a work detail. And I just happened to be there with a bunch of guys there. And he kept telling this young kid with a 45, he said, I'm going to take that 45, stick it up your ass. You know? And the guard says, he says, you try that. He says, not going to blow your ass off. You know. So I was right there when it happened. This guy kind of made a lunge, whether he was just teasing the guy or not. This young Marine blew a hole in him. You know, down he goes, you know. Surprised everybody. So the Navy had a hospital a couple of miles away. So of course I loaded him up there with the guard. Took him up there all the time he was there. He was just screaming at us and cussing us and cussing everybody. You know, just a foul-mouthed guy you could ever met. You know. So we got to the hospital. They come and got him, put him on a gurney. I said, I'm going to just see what happens. About 15 minutes later, the guy come out. He said, how's he doing? He said he died. He said, good. Yeah, I never did know what the hell that guy was in for, you know?
Uh-huh.
But, I'll tell you, we had a guy aboard the ship going to Okinawa. Never been in a landing. He's a Jewish kid from L.A. For some reason, I can remember his name. His name was Emil Wolowitz. His daddy had a haberdashery store in Hollywood, with Beverly Hills. The kid obviously had money.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a mouthy little guy, and kind of mouthy.
Uh-huh.
But I thought he was funny. Some of the guys didn't like him. But he was in the same part of the ship as I was, you know, 7 bunks high. And he would tell everybody that, he said, we were square, you know, we're going to go over there and somebody's going to shoot at us. He said, I'm a civilian. He said, he was a Marine just like me. He went through boot camp. But he wore designer clothes. You know, his daddy'd say, oh, you know, fancy shirts and shoes, you know. But he kept mouthing off. And, you know, I don't know what his MOS was, but I ended up as his boss. And he ended up as a stretcher bearer. And he's a good one. I mean, he'd grab a stretcher with another guy and they'd throw a bunch of ammo on it, take off the front lines, and they'd come back with a wounded guy, and he'd come back. You know, he was good. You know, then all of a sudden he'd disappear. They caught him down at Youngstown Airfield, tried to get a ride home. They brought him back. They watched him for a while. I don't know what happened. I was always gonna, after the war, I was gonna try to look him up just for the hell of it, you know. Whether he lived through, I don't know. He may have got killed. But he was one of the characters. The other guy was a sergeant. He'd never been in combat. Older guy. On that same boat. He was bragging about what he was going to do when he got over there. He was going to kill all those sons of bitches, boy. He was going to do this. He lands on the beach and goes crazy. Yeah.
With fright?
Locked him up.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you a funny story. About the end of the war, and we're down the south end of Okinawa, and this guy come up to me. I don't remember who it was, a Marine. I knew him. He says, John, he says, the Army behind us, you know, the rear echelon Army, quartermaster, they've been unloading shiploads of stuff, groceries and, you know, ammo and stuff. They got a chow dump, 20 acres of chow dump. And he says, all the canned stuff come in, like I think it was 6 1-gallon cans to a case with a code on it and strapped, you know, heavy cardboard and metal straps with a code, so you know, peaches or whatever it was. You know. He says, let's go in your ambulance. And we both carried 45. In the Army, most of the rear echelon people were scared of the Marines, you know, which is tickled us. You know. There's no reason to be scared of the Marines. But, and we all had a pistol, and mostly the Army just officers had a pistol. Mm-hmm. So everybody had a pistol. You wouldn't go anywhere without one. So he knew where the peaches were. So we go in this big gate. Here's a guard, Army guard with a rifle. I waved some papers. It could have been a funny book. Company B, little bit of stuff. Kept right on the going. We driving down through, find the car, found the peaches. Backed up in big stacks. Son of a bitch. We loaded up. Then we go out the back gate. All the truck to it. And the old Jeep was going like this. We get out and did the same thing, waved the papers and yelled at the guy and saluted us. We go around the corner and boy, we were just hardly waiting to eat those goddamn peaches. Oh man, to get a bayonet out, pop those damn things, you know, and open the can, and sauerkraut. True. We had like, I don't know, 20 cases of sauerkraut. 150 gallons. You know, hot. Take about one bite or two, you know, salty. Uh-huh. Oh. So anyway, we got screwed. I pulled back to where we were, and there was a tent. I think it was a sick bay. And I pulled up in back of there, and all these Marines standing around. I said, "You bastards, leave my peaches alone." Of course, we just go around the corner, you know, they can move it. They unloaded that truck in about 2 minutes. So we kind of got the last laugh, you know. Nobody got any peaches.
That's
that
funny. Where did you see your first action?
On April 1st, 1945 on Okinawa. Actually, I didn't see any action there for a few days. We landed unopposed. The first dead person I saw, well, we lost a sailor, fell off out of a hatch on the ship I was on. That was, when we left, we went on maneuvers on Guadalcanal, and then we left and went directly to Ulithi, which is close to Okinawa. There was a main harbor, that big harbor. And, we got in there at night, they dropped the mud hook, and, the next day, at daylight, I'd get up, and I look out, here's the USS Franklin. It'd been kamikaze, and it was about a 40% lisp, you know, the smoking, they pumping water out of it, or it limped in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they got it righted, and they towed it to San Francisco. They thought it was gonna sink.
Mm-hmm.
Great big aircraft there. So then in the invasion, I don't know what, I was probably third, fourth, fifth wave, didn't make any difference. But I remember the loudspeaker in the ship I was on says, no opposition, no opposition, no opposition, no opposition. And everybody on that ship was thinking, what the hell is going on? You know? So I finally go down to cargo nets and get on the landing boat, drove off with my Jeep ambulance, about this much water, to get my feet wet. And, aboard ship, you know, they were trying to teach the troops a little bit about what the terrain was like on Okinawa, the flora and the fauna. They told us about don't drink the water, the river flukes will kill you. You know, 2 or 3 poisonous snakes. I never saw a poisonous snake like that. But don't drink the water, for God's sake, the liver food. So I hadn't been on the beach an hour. We were moving for an area where we were gonna set up a roadblock, which we did with my battalion. Here's a dead Okinawan, but about 100 years old. Little frail little guy in a black kimono, little beard, you know, down there. Old man. He's laying there dead. I don't know what killed him. I think he just died of old age or fright or something. I don't know. There was no reason anybody would have shot him. You know? So I had this guy with me, and he says, "Hey, John," he says, "that's what you get when you drink the water." You know, I've been drinking it for 100 years.
I want to go back inside where the no.
Yeah, they're really good at it.
So, you landed at no,
Landed on Okinawa.
Okinawa, and the Japanese had held it for years?
Well, the Japanese decided that, and rightfully so, you know, they used to, we'd storm a beach like Tarawa or Peleliu or something, and they'd hit us on the beach. They'd kill a lot of us. The Japanese thinking on Okinawa was that it was
Hey?
they knew they were gonna lose. But they figured they could suck us in. They could kill more of us and it'd take a lot more time, which it did. They were right. So they had all this interlocking fire where you couldn't move in any one direction without having, the Japanese had everything zeroed in, you know. And it was, you know, we were fighting their territory. And anyway, that's the reason we didn't get hit the first 2 days. That night, we set up a roadblock in a schoolhouse. And I'm up overlooking, I got a rifle, and I'm overlooking the harbor where we landed. In Parker, there was one of the largest assembling of ships in the world. It was bigger than Normandy. You look out as far as you could see, there's a hospital ship, if you could see that far. Then the carriers, then the battle wagons, and then destroyers all through there, and then the troop ships, and then the beach, you know. And the kamikazes were coming in by the hundreds. We'd taken both the airfields the first day, Yantan and Kadena. So all these coming from the mainland and trying to bomb our ships, kamikaze them. With all these searchlights on board our ships, you know. Oh, it was the 4th of July. I mean, it was just everything in the world was shooting at these guys, you know. They get a big light on a jet plane, then another light, you know, and you don't know whether to hit them or not, you know.
Uh-huh.
Pretty soon, then once in a while you'd see them go down, you know. And I had the ringside seat. I was sitting there, and here's this Zero come in about 10 feet over my head, going as fast as he could go. And right behind him was a Marine night fighter. He was right on his tail. And all we knew was, you know, like in the movies. Then they went out of sight around the kill. I never did know if they got him or not.
Uh-huh.
But the day of the invasion, here comes this Jap Zero from way out. I mean, every ship in the fleet shot at this guy. He was just treetop high, going like a bat out of hell towards the beach. Everybody shot at him. Our gunners fired rounds at him. I don't know how many, 100,000 rounds, the 20s and 40s, and machine guns, everything else. Just before he got to the beach, some guy in a destroyer with one burst got him. You know? I always thought that guy probably broke his back patting himself on the back. But, yeah, that we set up a roadblock, and the Japanese were using civilians, and some of the soldiers put on civilian pajamas, you know, black, kind of like the Koreans, and they were trying to slip through our lines. We had a 37mm cannon. It's a pretty good weapon with canister in it, big shotgun. Anyway, we had trip flares, and I'm standing with the colonel who later got hauled him off the battlefield. He got shot. Colonel Murray, Lieutenant Colonel, battalion commander, good guy. We could tell that there were soldiers. We could hear them. It was dark. But you could hear the soldiers, you could hear the civilians. We knew that they were gonna, so we fired. There wasn't much we could do. We were gonna kill some civilians, which I'm sure we did. And this little girl ran away, and the colonel just reached out and grabbed her, you know, just to save her, you know. Little 4-year-old girl, 5-year-old. And she turned around and bit him on the arm, which is a reflex. Mm-hmm. Of course, the reflex is the rubber. And she went running off and tripped the flares. And if she'd have laid down, she'd made it. I don't know whether she did or not. You know. Mm-hmm. But I had a funny experience there. That wasn't funny. But we killed a lot of civilians. You know, we had to, when they way around it. We felt our ass was better, you know, more important than we didn't rightfully kill them. We didn't kill them just because they were civilians. We killed them because there wasn't anything else we could do, you know. People don't understand that. But we had 2 prisoners. I'm not too sure they weren't. There were some Okinawan conscripts that were, Okinawans were second-class citizens as far as the Japanese go. And anyway, we had these 2 guys at the schoolhouse, and they had me guarding them with a Tommy gun.
Hi, Lindy. Good morning. Fine. You going out to the garden?
Yeah. You got that going?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
the Japanese schoolhouse, like most of the real thin walls, veneer walls, you know. So I'm sitting there in a chair, And these two prisoners are sitting down with their backs to the wall. They're stripped to the waist, stripped with just a loincloth on. So it's a hallway, like a school. This major, I think he was, looked in there. He says, "Don't move." So he comes back with a shotgun. He says, "Are you familiar with this weapon, Marine?" I said, "Yeah, I've got one just like that at home. Pump. Model 97. He said, "I want to trade your weapons for an evening." I said, "Well, he's going to argue with a matron." I said, "Is there a shell in the chamber?" He said, "Yeah." So I looked and made sure there was, you know. And all you have to do is pull the hammer back, shoot, pump another one in. So I says, "What's the problem?" He said, "I'm sleeping in the next room." You know, if they got up, I'd have. But what he didn't realize is that shotgun was double out buck, broke a hole in that goddamn wall. It wasn't any safer
Yeah,
shotgun
yeah.
than a Thompson.
But he didn't want a bullet going through the wall that hitting him.
Oh, I'd have killed everybody probably within 3 rooms down, you know. Those little walls, thin walls. You know. That was kind of funny, looking back, you know. We got into we relieved the 27th Army Division, which was a pretty sorry bunch of people. I think New York or New Jersey National Guard outfit, they'd had trouble with them on Saipan. They'd retreated. You know, lack of discipline of officers, you know, wasn't the men's fault. But they were poor outfit. You had 2 other Army divisions that were wonderful. They were great, almost as good as the Marines. But this outfit was pretty sorry. We relieved them, they left, some of their dead, wounded. They left the lines 3-4 hours before we got there, you know, just, you know, everything wrong, you know. But that's when I first started. The first night I got at the actual combat was a lot of tombs in Okinawa, burial tombs. The bigger the one, the more wealth you had. Some were little, some were fancy, ornate. What they did, they laid the body out for 6 months or a year when all the flesh is gone and some bugs eat them up. And they have a ceremony and they break the bones and put it in an urn. So they got great-great-grandpa, you know, right down the line, you know, maybe 4 or 5 steps. But they made pretty good shelters, you know. So we cleaned out this one. Well, the north end of Moshonong Airfield is for a forward aid station. The front lines are about 200 yards south of us, 300 yards. And we were on a peninsula, and that night about 2 o'clock in the morning, we were firing from behind. This is in all the history books. And what happened was, I just happened to be there. The Japanese, our artillery was behind us, you know, the artillery fires over your head, you know. And the Japanese from Naha, the capital, come around the point, it barges. They figured 800 to 900 of them, mostly was pack charges, some rifles, but mostly just demolition. And we had some amphib tractors on the beach with 50s, 30s, 50s, mostly 50s. And they got confused someplace along the way. And all of a sudden they called for illumination mortars. So they started, the mortar outfit right by us, they started dumping those star shells and everything. Lit up the whole system. And here was 800 Japs caught red-handed. And all these 50s, you know, these wooden barges, just screaming. And they just kept dumping more and more guys on the beach, guys on the me, and everybody was shooting at them, shooting down at them, you know, just I mean this. Yeah. A few guys got offshore. They were so dazed. I think we got one that right coming to us, and somebody got him, shot him, or captured him or something. He was all screwed up. He was, yeah. The next one, we killed them all, basically. And, you know, the barge's blood blew up, you know, and all that.
With all the charges.
Oh, yeah. Oh, bodies washed in, you know, they're just a big pile of dead, blew the heads.
There's someone at the door. Come in. Oh, well, at least we'll have your voice.
Well, what do you want me to talk about now, Parky?
Well, tell me about the first time you saw a major, that was your first major combat, was with a barge?
Yeah, the Japanese had all the high ground, and they had everything registered, you know. I remember this one bridge south of where we were for a while. The engineers would fix the bridge. At about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they'd all take off. And about 5 o'clock, the Japanese would dump about 12 rounds right into it. Next day they built sort of what I think they built about 3 bridges before they got the guns, you know. It was kind of dumb. I got shot over there, running across the airfields. He had this Nambu machine gun, got me, chased me about 4 times. Finally got me. And a very easy wound. It was wonderful. You know, just like a scratch. And I think it actually bounced off the runway, the blacktop runway. So I think it was a ricochet. It didn't penetrate more than half an inch in my back. Then about a week later, I run over a landmine, which was an anti-tank mine. There was a Sherman tank on the side. I didn't actually run over it. I had so much business. We were getting, now my battalion ended up with 134% casualties during the battle. Because we kept getting replacements. You know, pretty sure you didn't know anybody. But, so we got this Jeep, and somebody welded or wired a couple of stretchers on it where you could put them crossways. And they had this guy, I remember his name, he killed. But he was driving it, and I was his boss. And we were going down to pick these guys up. I said, you stay behind me about 50 feet. And I said, I don't know where the mines are, if there are any. But I said, you just follow my tire track. And I said, if I hit it, you know, you won't. Anyway, he was right on my tail, and he hit something. I didn't hit it. He did, you know. So blew him up and blew him all out. And it's kind of funny, Parky. I didn't know exactly. I knew I ran over something. I don't remember that much about it. So I go back to duty. I remember I was in the aid stations, and I go back to duty, and somebody fixed up my Jeep, tore the windshield off, or the top off, but basically it was okay. I think the wheel bent or something. They put a new wheel on. Not back then. So about 5 years ago, I'm down in San Diego to Marine Reunion. This guy, John Hayes from Texas, he wrote me and says, are you the Loomis from gut wagon driver? I said, yeah. Now, he and I were pretty good friends over in Okinawa, and then we went to China together and came home together on the same boat. I got pictures of him and so forth. So we meet down there. He sent me a picture of himself and his wife. I sent him a picture of me, so we know each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after 40 years, you know. So he could see where I was, you know, hard of hearing and limping, had a cane. He said, what happened to you? Oh, I said, I ran over a goddamn landmine in Okinawa. He said, you son of a bitch. He said, I'm the guy that hauled you off the mountain.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He said, your blood was running out of your ears. He says, no, don't tell me about that. He says, you know. So I thought that was kind of funny, you know.
How badly were you wounded?
Well, I got progressively worse, and I finally had my back fused about 3 years later. I got 2 pins in my back. They grafted a bone out of my leg onto my back. I was in a cast for almost a year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. My mommy took care of me.
So they shipped you right home then?
Oh, hell no, from there I went back to work.
Really?
Sure. Oh, yeah, I spent, then I went to China, come home,
After the war?
yeah, I came home and, the war was over in September. I came home in, March of '46 from China. China was wonderful. I was talking to Hayes about that the other day. He says, you know, it's too bad we weren't a little younger, a little older, because we saw China when it was China.
Yeah, yeah.
We saw guys pulling carts, you know, and, there was, you know, no cars, there was just a few old coal burners. You know, an old 1934 Plymouth with a whole trunk out and burning coal, you know.
Uh-huh.
That kind of stuff, you know. Rickshaws, every day they'd lay the dead out on the gutter.
And then China was the same for thousands of
Oh,
years?
yeah, until we were there.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no reason for me to go back to China, because it wouldn't be
Yeah.
anything like it was. You know.
Yeah.
We had all the legations there, and, you know, it was great, you know, great place for liberty. And looking back at all the opportunities that we were allowed to ship like 50, 60 pounds of parcel post freight free to the States, to say to San Francisco, a day, you know. Marky, I'll never forget, down on the boom, I go down to big warehouses, right on the Hi-Ho River. 10 cents, we spent most of my time at 10 cents. But 10 cents, it's about 40 miles inland from the sea, North China Sea. And at the port of Tianjin and Peking are this Taku Bar. And the river runs in there, and it's been silted up during the war. Nobody dredged it, you know. So you couldn't get up to the old docks. Everything had to come in from lighters, you know, anchor out there and unload everything. So I drove they unloaded me and I drove up the river. But going down to Boone, which is a dock, there's warehouses like from here to County Road, big, wide, high, full of coins, Chinese coins. Some of them are that big, you know, all sizes, all with a hole in them, square hole, round hole, I forget. But the barley sacks and all the barley sacks were rotting, and it just coming out. I don't see, you know, some of those things were 1,000 years old. The Japanese were brought them in there. They were going to smelt them, ship them to Japan, you know, for bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have had them all. Now, today I don't know what they'd be worth, but they're, you know, 1,000-year-old Chinese coins got to be
Yeah.
worth something. You know?
Yeah.
and silk. I befriended a Chinaman over there, his wife, who worked before the war for the British. He could speak pretty good English. And he asked me if I did him a favor. He wanted some gasoline. I said, "So you don't have a car?" He said, "Yeah, no, nothing to clean these woolens suits. All during the war, the woolens would just shine, dirt." So I said, "No problem getting them all the gas you wanted. I give him a couple of 5-gallon candy and enough plastic on the rest of the life." But then he took me shopping at, I don't know anything about silk. When you're 20 years old, you don't know much. But I bought some silk and sent it home to my mother, a couple of other things. But they had a lot of Chinese silver. The Chinese silversmiths are nice. I got a picture of me sitting in a rickshaw. In the background, a Chinese silver store. You can see goblets, bowls, and pictures and stuff. I walked in that store 2 or 3 days after I got there. We were all armed on liberty. Everybody ran out the back. If a guy had been a crook, he could have just taken what he wanted. I felt sorry for the people. I wasn't going to rob them.
How long were you in China?
From October 1 to about 6 months. We were there in the wintertime. Cold.
Yeah.
Burnt soft coal. So your uniforms, you didn't do any washing, you sent everything out. You could get a shirt washed for 2 cents, They'd spit on it. They'd wash it. Then when they ironed it, they'd take water and spit. And they had a little, kind of a stiff brush to go like this. I'm like,
The poor Chinese, they didn't have, they couldn't, they got rid of the wood right away. So there's no fuel, very little fuel.
Yeah.
So that's why they have the padded. You see the Chinese with the padded to keep warm. Because only the wealthy could afford fire.
I saw 2, I think, maybe 3 rich ladies with the bound feet. You know how they did that? Their feet were no bigger than that. Be like a year-old baby's foot.
Yeah.
This old snowball, Orange Stowland, he lives in Texas now, he's a preacher. And he was a wild-ass Okie. He was in the Marines. He was an ambulance driver in the 3rd Battalion. Great, big, raw-boned guy. Good guy. He became a preacher. I found out later, and I told him, I said, there's nobody that's going to beat you when it comes to sin. You don't know about sin than anyone. He didn't think that was too funny. But we were walking down the street, and here's this real fancy saloon, which is a rickshaw with a bicycle on the front. A chrome, black chrome, it was a Cadillac, This little old lady with bound feet sitting there in their finery, obviously very, very wealthy. Old lady, she's got to be 80. And her boy was in this store picking up something. So she just sitting there. Usually 2 big Marines come by, The old Stowland, he gets on the bicycle and takes him for a ride. And he had he's part Indian. And he gave a couple of war whoops, big 6'3", great big guy. Give a couple of war whoops. He goes down, here's the Chinaman chased him. He goes down to the corner and makes a turn, then he comes back and makes another turn and parks it right where she's The little old lady I don't know if she may not have lived through that. But we went walking down, it was a terrible thing to do looking back.
Yeah.
Scared that little old gal practically to death, Then another guy I run into, about 5 years ago, we were back in Charleston, South Carolina, visiting the two doctors that were our battalion surgeons, John Hayes as corpsman, and Burnett Napier, and little Phil Coon from Santa Rosa. We were all over there at Hagedy's. He's got a home on the island there right overlooking Fort Sumter. Beautiful place. It's been used as a movie. Disney used it. Right on the point. All the cruise ships come by and they point to this house, you know. Like we owned the place. We stayed there about 4 or 5 days. But anyway, our Colonel Schaffner was there. He made Brigadier General. When I knew him, he was a Lieutenant Colonel. He was captured by the Japanese at Corregidor and escaped. And he got back to the United States and he sent him right back overseas. And he was a replacement. We lost our colonel on Okinawa and he replaced him. So he was our colonel at most of the Battle of Okinawa, and then he went to China with us. And it was fun talking to him because he saved my life. Well, I got a picture of him, but he gave me a medal for some reason. Not him, but he was a CO, so he's the one that pinned it on me. But I says, Colonel, I couldn't call him, I call him General. He says, I don't care what you call him. He's 80-some years old. Tough old, ornery old bastard. Shifty Schaffner. Anyway, I says, Colonel, I says, you know, I don't know whether you remember this or not, but I'll never forget you. And I appreciate what I'm going to say. He says, in China, we had that visiting admiral, British admiral or something. So he wanted to review the troops. So I never fell out for anything. I didn't have a boss. I was my own boss. It's an odd deal, but that's the way it is. It was, for me anyway. Nobody told me anything. And I didn't, you know. Anyway, we're in a British compound, which the Japanese used in World War II for, they made artillery shells. There was a factory. We cleaned it all up and we were billeted there, big high wall all the way around, you know, and the main gate. It's pretty well fortified, you know, with all modern day stuff to give you, but we were right in the middle of tension. No problem. So I got a billet, me and this corpsman, in a kind of a corner, like I don't know, it was a pretty good sized room, you know, no facilities, you know, they had electricity in there, they had a wood stove, cold up there. But anyway, that's where I was. The inspection was going on, you know, and I'm laying there in my bunk. The door was right there, and my bunk's right there. All of a sudden I hear, the door opens. And here's the admiral, and the colonel, and the sergeant major, and the first sergeant.
British.
Standing right in front of me. The old Schaffner says, you feeling better, Loomis? Yes, sir. He shut the door. There wasn't anything wrong, but he knew it, you know. And I told him that. He said, I remember that. He said, you know, you got to take care of your own.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you know, he could have, hell, he'd have thrown me in the brig, sure as shit. I got away with had a lot of fun in China.
You feel up to walking down to the saloon?
Sure.
Let's go down there. I want you to tell me about that. I want you to kind of tell me about these buildings. What was the first one was a saloon?
Well, if you want to know about the cannon.
Tell me about the cannon.
The cannon, okay, the cannon I bought down in the LA area. I'm down there visiting my friend Vic, and he's got a paper, so they're going to have an auction the next day or something. There's a bunch of stuff that came out of the DeYoung Museum, San Francisco, had it stored down there. They didn't want it, World War I, so they're going to sell it. So Vic and I decided we'd go up and look, you know, and they're buying that damn thing. The 1917 Italian 105. Good shape.
Does it shoot?
Yeah. They had a Renault tank with one track off, blown, and they had a couple of French 75s. They had 3 or 4 old, big, ugly-looking German cannons. But they went for, I think that cost me more to get it hauled up here than it cost me to buy the damn thing. I think I paid like $300 for the cannon. That was $300. It was kind of hard to come by in those days, but today I'd have bought them all. Anyway, we fire black powder charges in there for a big boom, you know. Most of the kids' weddings, we had a charge or two to send them off, you know.
Uh-huh.
That's a 500-pound aerial bomb. I think they still use those pretty much the way they are. I don't think much of that's changed.
Let's go down to the saloon.
Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys. Come on. Hi, guys. Hi, guys.
You first decided to build this.
Huh? You
The
wanna-
saloon.
In the opera house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with.
How long did it take to build this, the Opera House?
The opera house was completed about 1970, 71. It was right after old Shane Wallen, who was killed in an airplane crash, my buddy. He was helping me build it, then he was killed. So we named the opera house after the Wallen Opera House. So it was about 1970. Then we added the annex on 30 years later. That was an old labor camp in Grover City. Belonged to the Japanese Pismo Oceano Vegetable Exchange.
How many can you seat in the Opera House for dinner?
Yeah, we tore that down. That went up pretty fast.
How many can you seat for
Huh?
dinner? How many can you seat for dinner?
Oh, 400?
400?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we've had more than that, but
Uh-huh.
300 to 350 is
Comfortable.
that's the best. You know?
Yeah.
But we've had a lot more than that. But pretty crowded with more than 400. Yeah. It's all built with volunteer labor, diesel mechanics and dentists and real estate agents, insurance salesmen, whatever, you know, bartenders. The saloon, somebody asked me one time, I said, how much does that thing cost you? And I told him, I said, about $120 worth of wiring and nails and $10,000 worth of whiskey. Yeah, which is not true. If I spent more money on meat for a barbecue. This was a hall in Arroyo Grande on Brent Street. It's called the Union Hall. And then Henry Tanner bought it. It was Tanner's Hall. Then Steve Clevenger bought it. It was Clevenger's Hall. And then the last few years it was called the Rat Race. They have dances every Saturday night. We had a cattleman's deal here one time, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. County cattleman. I was talking to this guy, well, up the coast, I don't know, Cayucas or someplace. I think it was at Soto, not sure. Old time family. And he asked me where this building come from. I told him. He said, wait a minute. He goes over and gets his wife, whatever her name was. He says, he puts his arm around her, he says, you know, this is the building I proposed to you, 1928 or whatever the hell.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, I thought that's pretty neat. Yeah.
So you brought this,
And the ceiling is that pressed tin, you know, real thin. That was a son of a bitch to put in. The floor, the building we took down was bigger than this, not that much bigger, but some bigger. And the dance floor was all hardwood, what is the original floor in there. We started to tear it down, and this old man come by that lived right around the corner. He said, I got a tool for you. He said, I'm gonna give it to you, I have no use for it. Apparently he was in the construction business. So it was a kind of a pry bar built special for taking up flooring. So, and he said, I'm gonna tell you how this floor is gonna come out. And it was exactly the way he said it was. He says, right next to the bulkheads, it'll be thick. And he says, for about a space like that, it's gonna be paper thin. You won't be able to put that back. And then out in the middle, it'll be about half thick. And then on the other side, it'll be opposite, just like that. And that's exactly the way it was, because everybody danced in a circle. And that was the way it was. He
Yeah.
You know, it impressed the hell out of me, that old guy.
yeah.
Found a. They used to have silent movies at the, you know, before they had a theater. And I found a little piece of film. I took it down, had it developed, a little negative kind of thing. It was some old Western, just, I think there's 3 pictures, you know. There was a couple of guys in a wagon or something, you know. Had to go back by 1910 or something, you know. But, oh, they had graduations there. They had a lot of social events. All right, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This guy, produce department, Vaughn's, guy come in and wanted to buy a half a head of lettuce. He said, let me talk to the produce manager. So he goes over there and walks in the produce manager's little cubicle. Unbeknownst to him, the guy that wanted a half a head of lettuce is right behind him. And he says, Joe, he says, some asshole wants to buy a half a head of lettuce. He turned around, the guy's standing right there. Well, this gentleman here would like to buy the other half. So he got away with that. So the manager said, you know, Jimmy, he says, you handle that. He says, hey, we could have been at 14 damn lawsuits. He says, you really thinking on your feet. So a week or 2 later, he calls him in and says, company just bought 4 stores in Canada. And he says, would you consider being the manager of one of the stores in Vancouver? It's the biggest store there. He says, Canada? He said, Jesus Christ, not Canada. He says, the only thing they got up in Canada are hockey players and whores. The manager says, wait a minute. He says, my wife's from Canada. Oh, he says, what team does she play on? I'll tell you, I got a good story for you. Maybe you've heard it. 747, 35,000 feet over the North Atlantic. All the engines fall out of the plane. Everybody's doomed, they know it. Plane's going down the glide. This gal jumps up, rips off her blouse and her bra. She says, "Make me feel like a woman one more time." This guy ripped off his shirt and handed it to her and says, "Iron it." Love that. Yeah, well, Tex is on vacation in Vermont with his wife. Rancher down there in Texas. Everybody's big down there. So he's driving around the back roads of Vermont there in the farming country. This guy's standing out by his barn. He drove up there and introduced himself, told him he's from Texas. He says, "Mr. Jones," he said, "how big a spread you have here?" Well, he says, between the, with the barn and the house combined, I got 191 acres, including the barn and the house. Old Tex, he says, "Well," he says, "you know where I come from," he says, "you can drive, get in your pickup truck and you can drive all day without eating the end of your property." The old Vermont farmer said, "I had a truck like that once." Parker, this Portuguese old man is walking down the beach in Pismo, and a bottle washes up, old bottle. He picks it up and kind of rubs the damn thing and see what it is. Genie comes out, you know, a million genie stories. The genie says, "Manuel," he says, "thanks a lot for letting me out of this thing." He says, "I've been in there so damn long." He says, "I'm pooped." He said, "You know, genies are supposed to give 3 wishes, but," he says, "I haven't got the strength." He says, "I'll give you 1 wish." Old Manuel says, "Well," he says, "you know, all my relatives came from the Azores." He says, "on my wife's side, she's a Gallardi." He says, "all her relatives came from the Azores." He says, "I got great-grandfathers, grandmothers buried there. I must have 500 cousins, in-laws, outlaws. I don't know. I always wanted to go to the Azores. I've heard about it all my life." But he says, "I won't fly." And he says, "You're never going to get me in a boat." He says, "What I'd like to do, my wish is for you to build me a bridge from Pismo to the Azores." The old genie says, "Boy," he says, "that's kind of a tough assignment." He says, "What would your second wish be?" Old man, and he thinks a little bit, and he says, "You know, all my life, people have called me a dumb, damn Portuguese." He says, "I'm tired of it, sick and tired of being called a dumb Portuguese." He says, "How about giving me an IQ of about 195? The guy comes up and says, "Hey, man, you dumb Portuguese?" He says, "Wait a minute." He says, "I'm not a dumb Portuguese." He says, "I got an IQ of 195. He says, "That's what I like." So the genie thinks a little bit, and he says, "What kind of lighting would you like on your bridge?"
I want to get a picture of this beautiful dog. Kaya, bark.
They're making
Hey.
lots of
Kaya.
like bass and
Woof.
lots of so they're kind of making, you know, they're not always around, but you kind of, you know, comes and goes. All right,
Shirley, tell us who's the most beautiful dog in the world.
puppy is,
Oh.
your baby, darling dog.
Oh, there.
She's speaking even.
¿Dónde está los earplugs?
Come here.
I think it's too dark to shoot. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, you could.
Do you know where the lights are over here?
No.
I think these are pictures of Shirley and Rod's wedding.
God, it feels pretty shaky.